Hello, friend. I thought it would be fun to add a real interactive door to our game today, and you're going to learn it so quickly because it's actually really easy. We are going to use a third person template, but this will cover first person projects too. So for now, let's create a resource folder for the door materials and everything we'll need. I'm just creating the folder and we need another folder also. We want a BP folder, blueprints. Yes, there we go. And then add the materials and everything we'll need. Also delete that material. We're going to create a new. So right click and material, name this empty underscore door. Open that up and in the resource folder, add base color to base color and normal to normal. And we also have this tricky texture that allows us to connect R to occlusion, G to roughness, and B to metalness, all at the same time. So R to occlusion, G to roughness, and B to metal. Yep, that's okay. Save it and let's apply it to our door. In the right, just search for our material name and then apply it. Now I'm gonna do this for the door frame too. So everything is now complete. Let's head over to our BP folder, right click and create a blueprints class. We want the type to be actor. Why? Because it's going to be an object in our world. BP underscore door or whatever you want. Double tap and open that up. So here we're going to add two static mesh in the components tab, and if you don't have it, just enable it by window. Okay, now let's search about static mesh. Add it. It's for our door, and we need another static mesh. Name this door frame and attach it to default sense root. Now we have our mesh and we're going to add a collision. If you don't know what is collision, basically think of a collision as an invisible wall that prevents the player from passing through the objects. We have different types, a sphere, box, I'm gonna go with box. And now we're going to add door and door frame to our static mesh. Make sure to click on the door and then search for door. Just like the small tutorial about our material, search for the names and then just fix the size, and I'm going to just make it clean, don't make it too big. And here I'm going to add the mesh, make it right at 90 degree, and we're going to press E but nothing happens. So let's actually go to the events graph and let's really make the blueprints. So now at the bottom we have the begin overlap and end overlap events. Begin overlap fires when the player enters the collision and end overlap fires when the player leaves it. When an actor enters, we cast to check if it's the player and access its functions and variables. So let's do a cast to third person and just copy and paste it here too. And then for both, connect the target to other actor. And then we're going to enable input when the player enters the area so they can interact with the door and disable it when they leave. We also need to get the player controller because Unreal needs to know which player's input we want to enable or disable. In this case, we're getting the controller of the player who is interacting with the door. Now, let's add an E key input and then a flip-flop node to switch between opening and closing the door. After that, because we need an animation for the door, we add a timeline node. And for closing the door, connect B to reverse from end because we are closing. It's an opposite animation. And then we need a set relative rotation node to apply timeline's value and rotate the door smoothly. But right now we don't have any timeline value. So double click the timeline node, add a float track, then right click anywhere and select add key to curve float. Set the first key's time and values to 0. After that, add another key and set the time to 2 seconds and the value to 90. The reason we use 90 as the value is because we want the door to rotate exactly 90 degrees, not more. And you can select them and right click to add the auto. It's because make them more smoothly and then compile and save. Now we have the right value in our track. We need to turn it into a rotation, so search for the make rotator node. Connect the track value to 0 and connect the output to our new rotation. So now everything is over. If I press the E key, you can see it opens smoothly. And if I press E key again, it will close. Hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial and see you in the next video. Bye bye.